was interesting though, because he said something like, my job is not to come out and commentate on things. My job is to support the president. I'm like, you're sitting here for 3 hours with Joe Rogan. I would kind of call this like commentating on things, So it's a tough spot, but he has also been the guy who's been sent as the, lead negotiator for the MOU throughout the time. And he's seen how frustrating that is, to where he tries to make a deal and then shit out of his control with, another country in the Middle East tends to happen and fuck things up. So, why is he, while he's in the middle of those negotiations, why is he the guy who's now also publicly coming out and posturing? I would think, and maybe I'm way off here, he would be the guy that would be kept away from the cameras so that he can really actually deal with all parties involved behind the scenes. What's the calculation there that it's like, you know what, they're going to send out JD? And he's done more talking than Trump in the past month, you could argue, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty quiet, I think, while the MOU was kind of being worked out, but then he came out to defend it. And I think that was the president and probably, Rubio and some of the other guys were like, let him go out there and try and defend it, because a lot of the Rubio camp still wanted to keep fighting, I think.
Rubio camp.
The more hawkish people.
Do they have like their own side of the room and you wave to them from across it? Or?
Well, I mean, he was in a much higher position than me. So, I mean, that I think it's pretty obvious. You got Rubio, you've got Ratcliffe, you've got these guys who for a long time, they've been very hawkish on Iran. And so I think they were much more, you didn't hear them say very much about the MOU. They let Vance go out there and attempt to sell it. At the same time, though, you had Rubio go and basically cut a parallel deal, with the blessing of the president, obviously, but cut a parallel deal in Lebanon that allowed the Israelis to stay in Lebanon, which did it directly violate the MOU? I don't know, but it definitely didn't strengthen the MOU.
No,
because we knew within the MOU, they said complete ceasefire, complete withdrawal. So that didn't make things, better at all. Yeah, so he's in a very tough position. I think right now for him to come out more publicly, he's doing so because the MOU is clearly dead. It had a very short life. Yeah. I mean, I would say so, especially after it was always a long shot if the entire MOU was going to remain intact. But I think we had hoped that it would at least last long enough to get us to a place where we could start more serious negotiations. But because the Iranians fared so well in the first part of the war, they were able to get in the MOU that Lebanon stipulation. And so then for the Israelis to be able to play spoiler there, the Israelis are basically like, we're not going to get out of Lebanon. We're still getting shot at by Hezbollah. So no deal. That allowed Israel basically to help negate the MOU. Even if we would have restrained Israel in a more meaningful way, I think had we restrained Israel in a more meaningful way, we could have gone to the Iranians and said, hey, we're trying, but Lebanon's in their backyard. So it would have been hard to stop Israel from doing things inside Lebanon. But then we came in and we cut that parallel deal where Rubio went to Lebanon and he said, okay, we're going to help, rid Lebanon of Hezbollah, and the Israelis are going to stay here. And there's going to be like joint monitoring center, and CENTCOM's going to be here. Like America's going to go play referee in Lebanon, because that's worked out well in the past for us. But that pretty much helped kill the MOU. And then the Iranians were going to test, their ability to control the shipping. Now the Iranians shot at the ships. They shouldn't have shot at the ships if they wanted the MOU to last. But honestly, I don't think the Iranians wanted the MOU to last either, because again, this goes back to us killing the supreme leader. I think the guys, Arachi and Ghalibaf, that cut the MOU.
That's his name, Ghalibaf.
I think they were, maybe I'm saying it right. I don't know.
No, Arachi's the guy that goes on TV.
Arachi goes on TV.
And he's on the other.
Yeah, I think Arachi's pretty proficient in English, and Ghalibaf is he's the other guy. I think that they started shooting at the ships again. There's some who say that was a rogue element of the IRGC. I don't know about that, but I do think that the Iranians were just like, we can't go bury our supreme leader, our Ayatollah, members of his family while we've signed a peace deal. And the Iranians said from the very beginning that they weren't going to surrender anything in a memorandum or in a treaty that they hadn't lost on the battlefield.